Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Property Management 101, and today we'll be discussing the best practices on when to schedule your owner distributions. If you've not already done so, please watch my disclosure video as well as my why I do this video. And if you found this video helpful and learned something new, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. This video will be best for anyone that works or invests in the single family management space. For those of you that do not know what I'm referring to when I say owner distribution, it's also known as owner draws or owner's monthly payouts. And this is the practice of giving owners a portion of the rent and the fees collected each month or whatever cadence is agreed to. I've seen many different ways of handling this process, but here are some things to consider to determine when you should schedule your owner draws. Number one, do not base it off when the rent is due. I've seen individuals base off when the rent is due or when is rent supposed to be collected, and this is a big mistake to me. This is really setting up the expectation that's not realistic, and the owners may be disappointed after you don't meet that deadline a few times. For example, let's say rent's due on the 1st, and you tell your owners you'll pay them their draw on the 4th. If the resident pays a few days late, most likely that owner is not going to receive their draw by the 4th. Also keep in mind, a lot of states have certain grace periods that they are required as landlords to give the tenants to pay rent without any type of late fee. In most states I've personally worked in, this can range between 3 and 5 days. Most residents will wait to pay until the last day without receiving a late fee to actually pay their rent. Number two, best practice to keep in mind with your owner distributions, allow some flexibility. I would recommend including your time frame when owners can expect their draws within your management agreement with them. I would not suggest putting a firm date though. For example, if you want to pay your owners out on the 12th of each month, then I would recommend offering a range, let's say between the 12th and the 16th. And here's a few reasons why. For example, if you do mark a firm date like just the 12th, then it could be a situation where the 12th falls on a Sunday. If that's the case, the banks are probably not going to process their draw, and they're probably not going to get paid out until Monday or Tuesday, the 16th or 17th. And to prevent situations like this, allow yourself some flexibility. So allowing yourself the 12th through the 16th would take into consideration things like holidays, things like if the bank's closed on a Sunday, or other certain extreme circumstances that the bank's closed and not processing it. Number three, best practice to keep in mind when determining when your owner distribution should be. And the third best practice to keep in mind, review what your reserve is. So if your reserve with your owner is $150 and your average work order is $225, then I would recommend holding on to that rent before providing a distribution for a longer period of time. This way you can allow, if a work order comes in, that the owner is not having to front that cost, or you're fronting that cost as a property manager. And instead of that, you can simply withdraw that money from the rent. So in a situation like this, I would recommend putting that draw later in the month. Let's just say, for example, between the 25th and the 30th of the month. And as a bonus tip today, for example, if you're not able to meet that deadline, I would strongly recommend letting the owner know ASAP. Do not wait for that date to come and go. They don't receive that distribution, then they're all picking up the phone and calling you. As soon as you know you're not going to meet the deadline for whatever reason, maybe there's a process with the bank, maybe the resident hasn't paid, etc., make sure you let those owners know right away. And I would do this in a couple different formats. I'd know them by email. I would let them know by phone call. If you have a text message service, if you're planning on meeting them for some reason, make sure you let them know multiple different ways so they get the message. A lot of owners base when they pay their mortgage on when they receive their distribution from you. So you would never want a situation where they're waiting longer than expected and then it impacts their ability to pay the mortgage on the home or the unit. If you have any questions about this video or any of my videos, feel free to comment. I'll be happy to address them for you. If you like this video and learned something new, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Happy leasing.